जय गुरु जी, शुक्राना गुरु जी महाराज for yet another beautiful blissful evening in your divine Sharan and under your lotus Sharan. बेअंत बेअंत शुक्राना गुरु जी महाराज फिर से ऐसी शाम लाने के लिए जब हम आपकी चरण और शरण में खो जाएं और दुनिया की सबसे मीठी छाँव का एहसास कर सकें। नमस्ते साथ संगत जी, जय गुरु जी टू एवरीवन। आज फिर हम ब्लेसिंग रेडी फॉर डिविनिटी कमांडर अंकल द्वारा प्यारी सी लिखी हुई ये पुस्तक, इसकी रीडिंग करने जा रहे हैं। कुछ भी कोइंसिडेंस नहीं है। इस शाम से पहले मेरी कोशिश होती है, जबकि हमने ये किताब पहले भी पढ़ी है, लेकिन कोशिश होती है जिस दिन इसकी रीडिंग होनी है और जो चैप्टर रीड होना है उसकी रीडिंग एक बार फिर से की जाए। कुछ भी तो कोइंसिडेंस नहीं होता, ये महाराज बार बार एहसास कराते हैं। बहुत जन्म बिछड़े थे माधो, ये जन्म तुम्हारे लिखे। इस शब्द से मेरा इतना इंस्टेंट कनेक्शन है। महाराज ने मुझे ये बताने के लिए, मेरे पे ये कृपा बरसाने के लिए कि उन्होंने मुझे एक्सेप्ट कर लिया है, इस शब्द को एक जरिया बनाया था, जो कि मेरा अपना बहुत बड़ा सत्संग है। इस वक्त नहीं शेयर करूंगी क्योंकि इस प्लेटफॉर्म का मकसद आज कुछ और है। लेकिन ये कोइंसिडेंस तो नहीं हो सकता कि ये शब्द से महाराज ने मुझे अपने साथ इतनी गहराई से जोड़ा, जब मुझे शब्द के बारे में ज्यादा नॉलेज भी नहीं थी, इतने सत्संग भी नहीं सुने हुए थे। आज शाम को भी मैं सत्संग में यही शब्द सुन रही थी और इसमें बिल्कुल लुप्त हो रही थी। और जब ये चैप्टर की रीडिंग होनी जा रही है, इस रीडिंग की शुरुआत, इस चैप्टर की शुरुआत ही इस बात से, इस एक बड़े सत्संग से होने जा रही है, जिसमें अंकल ने ये बताया है कि बहुत जन्म बिछड़े थे माधो। इसका एक्सपीरियंस, आंटी का एक्सपीरियंस विज एम्पायर स्टेट। सो ये मेरे लिए पर्सनली बहुत ही प्यारा सत्संग बन जाता है और मैं महाराज का बेअंत शुक्राना करती हूँ कि जिस मोड़ से मैं गुजरती हूँ वहां महाराज इस शब्द को मेरे सामने किसी ना किसी तरीके से, किसी ना किसी प्यारे जरिए से ले आते हैं और मुझे एहसास कराते हैं कि उन्होंने मुझे एक्सेप्ट कर लिया है। अनंतम शुक्राना महाराज। इसके साथ मैं अपनी बड़ी ही हमारी प्यारी सी गुरु संगत, यंग सी गुरु संगत खुशी सोलंकी आंटी का स्वागत करती हूँ। वो आज की रीडिंग करेंगी। बहुत प्यारी बात है कि वो अभी अभी बड़े मंदिर से माथा टेक के आ रही हैं, आई एम श्योर, इस रीडिंग में, और बड़े मंदिर की उन वाइब्स के साथ वो हम सब के साथ महाराज की ब्लेसिंग्स शेयर करेंगी। सो ज्यादा वक्त ना लेते हुए, ओवर टू यू खुशी सोलंकी आंटी फॉर रीडिंग ऑफ द चैप्टर द ओमनीसिएंट लॉर्ड, followed by the chapter Spirit of Satsangs, Host Simply, Connect Deeply. Shukrana Maharaj. Over to you, Khushi Auntie. Thank you.
Shukrana Guruji. Thank you so much, Auntie. I hope voice is audible.
Yes, you're audible. If you could be a little louder. Thank you.
Yes, Auntie. Now it's clear.
Perfect. Perfect, Auntie. Jai Guruji.
Jai Guruji. Thank you so much, Shukrana Guruji, for this opportunity. I would start reading the chapter. The Omniscient Lord. Once, during a satsang at Empire Estate, I was thrilled to be chosen to execute Guruji's hukum. Colonel Joshi, a retired army veteran and one of the senior devotees in Maharaj Seva, told me that Guruji wanted to speak to Colonel Chatterjee uncle. I needed to find him and convey the message. Excitedly, I searched both ground and first floor halls, the entrance area where the shoes were left, and the approach road. But Chatterjee uncle was nowhere to be seen. I reported back to Joshi uncle and he in turn conveyed this to Guruji. Guruji pointed out that Chatterjee uncle was standing next to a white ambassador parked in the dark, some distance away. I promptly went and indeed found him there. This was my first lesson about Guruji's omniscience. He is everywhere and knows everything. I realized that there is nothing hidden from Maharaj, nothing at all. Not only is Guruji all knowing, he can also very subtly and discreetly direct our will in such a way that we don't even come to realize it. My wife and I were seated on the first floor listening to Shabads at Empire State during a regular Saturday visit. She whispered that one particular Shabad, बहुत जन्म पिछड़े थे माधो, एह जन्म तुम्हारे लेखे, had not been played for a very long time. It is one of her favorite Shabads. In it, the devotee says, I have been separated from you for many lifetimes. This life is dedicated to you because this good fortune of meeting you has come to me after many lives of separation. She had hardly finished her statement when we noticed that the Shabad being played had been replaced by the one she had mentioned. The Shabads were being played on cassettes, put in twin cassette deck hi-fi system. The CD players were not commonplace yet. This Shabad was perhaps available on another cassette and played by the Sevadar uncle on remote cue from Maharaj without any physical communication, simultaneously with a little chat between me and my wife. There are many more instances of time obeying Guruji's diktat. Once, a few devotees came to Guruji at Empire State to seek his blessings before taking their flight to USA later in the night. Guruji held them back, saying they would leave only after langar. Time was running out, and Maharaj was respectfully reminded about it a few times. Maharaj reassured them that their flight had been delayed and they should have langar without any worries. They left after langar and reached the airport well past the schedule of the time of departure, only to find that the boarding had not been announced till they had arrived. The aircraft was simply not ready. How could it be when Maharaj had decided otherwise? It was not long before I fully started realizing that there was nothing impossible for Guruji Maharaj. He had everything covered. Guruji could not only make the ripples of his powerful will spread out over the domain of worldly activities, but as the ever compassionate Guru, he also listened to and answered the prayers of his Sangat. This faith was further reaffirmed when a dear friend, Vijay Pushkarna, approached me to get support for building a temple for the housing societies in Sector 56. He wanted to know if I knew someone who could ensure allotment of land from Huda for this purpose. Since the temple was meant for public at large, he already formed a society and applied to Huda. I replied in affirmative. My friend naturally thought that I knew somebody in the administration or government who could help pave the way. I let him know my plan to take him to Guruji to receive his blessings. Vijay thought that perhaps Guruji would ask someone in the government to make it happen. I accompanied Vijay and his team to Guruji Maharaj. We followed the entire routine at Empire State. Finally, it was the time to seek his agya. This was the time when Vijay mentioned the purpose of his visit to Guruji Maharaj. Guruji patiently listened to the request and simply said, Kalyan. I quietly told Vijay that Guruji had blessed us and that our prayers had been granted. At that time, Vijay knew nothing about Guruji and his ways. He and his team may have wondered how their prayer would be granted. Yet, within a short time, the trust formed for this purpose got the letter of allotment of 1,000 square yard plot to build a temple. Soon after, Vijay too became a devotee of Guruji Maharaj. Since this proposed temple had been blessed by Maharaj, I thought of associating myself with it. Soon enough, I got a call from Singla uncle with Guruji's directive to me. I was not to be associated with the temple whatsoever. I had to come to Guruji Maharaj only. This re-emphasized the very first piece of advice I had got through a Sangat during my first visit to Badamandir. That devotee had told me that I had come to the right place and I should not go anywhere else. Ever since, I am firm in my belief that Guruji is all I ever need. I have therefore pulled myself away from every other place of worship. I always bow my head when I go past any religious place, but my veneration is towards Guruji. No matter where I bow my head, it is always at his lotus feet. I have stepped away from all other forms of puja or prayer. I do nothing as a religious man. I don't need to. There is no ritual which will grant me what I already have, my Guruji. I am at his lotus feet. He has blessed me. He has asked me to be with him. What will I achieve searching for him? So, in continuation, with this belief, I have never felt a need to have the bar at home. Why? Because the most important temple is already in my heart. If I don't have a temple there, then I could as well be sitting in a temple 24 by 7 and it still won't make much of difference. Any place where I am seated and remember Guruji or participate in a satsang becomes my Guru's temple. Even when I am eating, in the kitchen cooking, in the bed sleeping, with my friends, with my wife, with my family, at work, or wherever else, I am in his temple. I am with my Guru all the time. There is no moment when he is not around. As devotees, we do not have a choice to have Guru around us only when we need him. Guruji is around us even when we would rather not have him watching over us. We are always with our Guruji. Where is the need for an external ritual to look for Guruji? As Sant Kabir puts it, Kasturi Nabhi Base Mrig Dhoonde Jag Mahi. The deer searches for its scent around the world while it is in its navel. My wife has Guruji's Swaroop in her kitchen, maybe a couple of yards from where she works. She enjoys the idea that while she spends her time in the kitchen, she considers her office. She can always look at Maharaj. We can't imagine tying him down to a specific place or anchoring him to a room or a seat. For me, it doesn't work like that, but I'm happy for anyone for whom it does. This is a personal connection. Everybody must have their own personal space with him. My faith is that there is no need for separate place for Maharaj because my Guruji is in my heart. I feel him here. I can't even say, Guruji, please come to me. Come from where? He is already here. I commune with him. Being with the Guru is a state of mind, not a state of action. When I connect with Guruji, it makes no difference what the others are doing. It is their connection, it is their journey, and we are no one to judge each other. It is my connection, my journey, that is my sole concern. I am sure Guruji will not let me succumb to peer pressure. How will it make a difference to me what a particular devotee does or does not do? In fact, the only thing to do is to do our prescribed responsibility well, all the while keeping Guruji Maharaj in our heart. As Saint Tulsidas says in Ramcharitramanas, Prabisi Nagar कीजय सब काजा हृदय राखी कौशलपुर राजा. Reading the footnote, the second line of this chopai in the Sundarkand fulfills this proclamation of faith. Garal Sudha Repu Karhin Mitai Gopar Sindhu Anal Sitalai. The chopai means for those who do their work in the world while remembering the king of Ayodhya, poison turns to nectar, enemies become friends. The ocean of worldly suffering shrinks to the size of a cow's hoof, and fire becomes cool. Next chapter, Spirit of Satsangs. Host simply, connect deeply. Guruji forestalled me from going to proposed sector 56 temple because he had already allotted another seva to me. It came about quite innocuously around October 2003. I had reached the parking lot at Empire Estate after taking permission from Maharaj when Arjun uncle, a devoted sevak of Guruji managing parking arrangements, then walked up to me. He gave me an A4 size paper with names and contact details of the Sangat from Gurgaon and conveyed Guruji's directive that henceforth I would coordinate the satsangs to be held once every month in Gurgaon. By that time, I had attended a few satsangs in Gurgaon, but I had no idea how they should be conducted. Nevertheless, I was hugely excited and feeling blessed beyond words. I called up the devotees and we held the first satsang in Gurgaon. We came together and talked about Maharaj, had a lot to eat, and went to our homes. The next time, we were at yet another uncle's house, and again, we had a wonderful time there with with a lavish spread of prasad. We all enjoyed it and returned happily sated. It wasn't long before I was ticked off by Maharaj. Guruji told me that my remit was to conduct satsangs, not kitty parties. But I didn't know how to hold a satsang. Guruji took me out of my bewilderment. Soon, a devotee who had come from Punjab for darshan was asked by Guruji to stand up and share his satsang. He narrated how his life had changed ever since he came in Guruji's Sharan and recounted the blessings received from Maharaj. Guruji had thus shown me the essence of a satsang, that a satsang was devotees sharing the blessings they had received from Guruji Maharaj, conveying how their lives had transformed for the better. Then I got additional directives from Guruji. The satsang should be held on every third Sunday of the month from 5 to 7 in the evening. At 7 p.m., all those who wished to disperse for taking darshan at Empire Estate could do so. Prasad too was to be limited to chai prasad with one sweet and one salty eatable. During those initial days, the Sangat was thin in numbers. So we didn't even play Shabads. We would get together and start sharing satsangs. There was no arti, no mantra jap, and for some time there was no swaroop. As the numbers grew, devotees would arrive at different times. So we agreed to wait for them and play Shabbats till most of them had arrived. People generally arrived on time, so we played at most one or two Shabbats. The Shabbats were not an integral part of our satsangs. The emphasis was on sharing experiences we had with Guruji. The main course of the satsang, to the best of my belief, was and continues to be sharing of experiences. This sharing is most essential to a satsang of Guruji's devotees. If there is sharing and nothing else, it is still a satsang. Satsang essentially means to be with the truth. The Guru is truth, and there is nothing beyond him. He is the ultimate truth. Through sharing, we become one with the Guruji, the truth. That is satsang. In a year, we could only conduct 12 such satsangs, one for each month. With the Sangat slowly growing, devotees would book satsangs months in advance. I began to maintain a roster. On one occasion, it was my turn to hold satsang at my home. I got a message from Guruji that a large place was required because many more devotees would be coming. I booked the community center within my society. The Sangat arrived in considerable numbers. Guruji was at Empire State and mentioned the exact number of Sangat who had come to the satsang at the community center. Like fools, we even counted the number of plates. The count was exactly what Guruji had foretold. It had to be. Maharaj not only keeps track of the satsang and notably controls it, he also presides over it. He participates in it. Those devotees who believe the satsang is just among themselves should remember that it is always between Guruji and his Sangat. Those days, Guruji would also, on occasions, grace a devotee's house with his presence. On one such occasion, he graced Mathur uncle's home in Gurgaon. They did two additional activities, which till date inspired our satsang format. They prepared an asan for Maharaj on a beautifully decorated sofa that Maharaj sanctified, and they did Guruji's Aarti, the devotional offering of lights. For all subsequent satsangs at Mathur uncle's home, that sofa was reserved as Maharaj's asan because Guruji had sanctified it when he sat on it. At subsequent satsangs, the rest of us too offered Guruji an asan. The Aarti was integrated little later into satsangs. Aarti was not a regular affair even at Empire State, but these devotional offerings at our satsangs made the devotees very happy. Now we had Guruji's Swaroop, Asan, Shabads, Prasad, Aarti, and sharing of satsangs, all dedicated to Guruji Maharaj. During one of these satsangs in Gurgaon, Brigadier Saini uncle remarked that Guruji takes all our ailments upon himself and suffers for us in his human form. Therefore, we as Sangat must pray for his well-being and health. Some of us did wonder if we, insignificant beings, could do anything at all for our Guruji, the Almighty Himself. But Brigadier Saini counseled us to offer prayers for his well being. It was a wonderful testament to his devotion. But what form of prayer could that be? Saini uncle referred to a running LED display along with Guruji's Swaroop hung at entrance of Bade Mandir. The display continuously reeled out the divine mantra Om Namah Shivaya, Shivji Sada Sahai. We bow to Lord Shiva, who is always there to help us. We could adopt this mantra and repeat it before we commenced our sharing of satsangs. Essentially, praying to Guruji, Lord Shiva, to take care of himself. One of us proposed adding Guruji Sada Sahai to the mantra in every alternate line because for his Sangat, Guruji and Shivji are one and the same. Everybody liked this idea. Immediately thereafter, Brigadier Saini uncle led us into the chant by reciting the divine mantra Om Namah Shivaya, Shivji Sada Sahai, Om Namah Shivaya, Guruji Sada Sahai. This came to be known as Mantra Jap ever since. Initially, we repeated it 7 times in concordance with Guruji's birthday on July 7. Subsequently, on the advice of Sangat's elders, it was increased to 9 repetitions, as 9 is the largest single digit. From the next monthly Gurgaon Satsang onwards, the responsibility of reciting Mantra Jap came to me. For a long time, the Jap was regularly done orally at Gurgaon monthly satsangs, in absence of any recorded version. The Mantra Jap formally received Guruji's sanction a little later. Devotees from Gurgaon were involved in preparation of langar at Bada Mandir for Sangat at Empire State. They would begin their sacred culinary preparations with the Mantra Jap. It got adopted naturally. A few devotees observed it and brought this new development to the notice of Guruji Maharaj, who readily approved the jap. After Maharaj's Mahasabadhi, when the Sangat gathered at Bade Mandir for the first time, it was a very solemn and sorrowful occasion. Everyone was somber and sat quietly. None of us had any idea about what to do and what to say. On advice of elders, I vividly remember standing up next to Maharaj's asan and reciting Mantra Jap in Bade Mandir. Sometime later, a recorded rendition of Mantra Jap became available, which has been used regularly since. The only other thing that got me added to satsang was the fulsome langar we have nowadays. Again, it happened naturally. Devotees understandably wanted to celebrate and solemnize important occasions with fellow devotees. Gradually, satsangs became a regular part of all such occasions. Prasad also became sumptuous, befitting the occasions. It wasn't long before a full langar became the norm, rather than exception, just for major celebrations. As directed by Maharaj, the Darbar should have only and only Guruji's Swarup. Guruji is the only form of divine that we have, as Sangat, have chosen to worship while giving up all other options. The emphasis during a satsang was and should always be on simplicity, humility, and loving sharing. As Guruji said, a satsang is not a kitty party. It is an occasion to be in the divine presence of Guruji Maharaj. Shukrana Guruji. With this, the reading of the chapter ends.
Thank you, Kushi Auntie. Would you like to add and go further with your reading? Beyan,
Yes,
Beyan
Aunty.
Shukrana. Ji, Kushi Aunty, please. Beyan Shukrana, Guruji Maharaj. Yes, Kushi Aunty, please.
So, Aunty, when I got to be a part of uh, this Grand Seva, so it was COVID time, and then basically we all had the doubt that since we are not able to go to Bada Mandir or go to satsangs, and like what all rituals shall we do so that we have a connect with Guruji, and how it should go like. So at that time I was really confused. There were many rituals like reading a Puran, Shiv Puran maybe, or having meditation, or when we should have it, and all those confusions. So that was cleared when, uh, through Commander Uncle, this message that we read today came, that worshipping Guruji, the original worship maybe is we doing our responsibilities while remembering him. And there is no such ritual that we can perform to have him, because it is always based on his meher. All is his, and we are his, literally. His will works. Shukrana, Guruji.
Beyan Shukrana, Guruji Maharaj. Beautiful reading, Kushi Aunty. It was so beautiful, and the narrative was so clear, and it was lovely. Thank you very much for offering the seva. Thank you. And yes, as I said that every seva has a hidden blessing. How Maharaj validates our doubts. It is yet again proved. I was talking to someone in the evening that I was invited to a religious ceremony where I'm not going, and I'm instead being in presence of Maharaj, because in Maharaj, I personally find all the deities and the entire universe. So if I have to find any form of worship, it has to be in Lotus Charan of Maharaj. And there comes this chapter which you read out so beautifully. And it's been so nicely validated by Maharaj. So thank you Maharaj. हमेशा अपनी कृपा हम सब पर बनाए रखना महाराज, अंग संग रहना और उसका एहसास दिलाते रहना महाराज. कोई भूल चूक हुई हो हमें माफ करिए महाराज. And thank you Kushi Aunty, thank you Sangat ji. Wishing you all a very good evening and a peaceful night. And thank you Maharaj. Jai Guruji.
Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji Maharaj. Thank you so much, Archie Aunty. Thank you so much, Kushi Aunty, for beautiful reading. संगत जी, अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर सकते हैं तो टेक आज्ञा. जय गुरुजी, शुक्राना गुरुजी महाराज.
Shukrana, Guruji. Jai Guruji.
जय गुरुजी, शुक्राना गुरुजी, मेहर गुरुजी. थैंक यू
जय गुरुजी, शुक्राना गुरुजी, आज्ञा गुरुजी महाराज.